Last time we reviewed the Aesir Extension set, and it's been out for a hot minute now, and I've been doing some experimenting. In those experiments, I've discovered some pretty cool tips and tricks you can use with it. Today, I'll be sharing those with you. So, without further ado, let's get started. The first tip is honestly probably the most obvious, and that is creating archways. The new modular vaulted ceilings integrate perfectly with the quarter pillars, and the quarter pillars snap cleanly onto the edges of walls. Therefore, you can use this dynamic to create a really simple archway as an entrance or a passage between rooms. You can really build it to any dimension you want. I feel it looks best at 2x2, though other sizes can indeed work, and regardless of the size, it's a very elegant way to transition between spaces. You can also use this method on interiors to create arcade-style walls, either to allow passage to a side corridor, as recessed arcades for displaying statues or the like, or even as blind arcades with walls on the interior. The vaulted pieces are not perfect in this aspect. They do extend in two directions, which sometimes isn't ideal, but they do double as a really good place to hang lighting from, so generally it's quite good. Archways are few and far between in the base game, so this tip is great for adding a touch of shape and elegance into your build. For the second tip, we are sticking with the theme of the vaulted ceilings. These pieces are incredibly versatile, and alongside the archways and arcades I just showed you, you can also create some really attractive vaulted ceiling sections when combining materials together. Let's take this area for example, where I've built connecting vaulted ceilings. This usually wouldn't work with other materials because the lack of ground support for the hanging elements of the vaulted ceilings would look a little weird. However, with the quarter pillars and vaulted ceilings in place, I can then put arena vaulted ceilings, for example, in the gaps, and it actually creates a really unique and attractive look. I think Stormglass and Numidian could probably also work with this idea, however I think Arena is a standout choice as Arena and Aesir just tend to work really well together. Another option is for smoothly extending the floor space of builds or for overhanging roofs. With the quarter pillars supporting the vaulted sections, I find this is actually a better option than using inverted sloping sides, and can greatly improve the balance of some structures that would otherwise feel a bit strange with an overhang. For our third tip, we're tackling one of this set's biggest issues, and that is tonal muddiness. Aesir suffers very heavily from this issue, especially at a distance, so pattern breaks are essential. We're looking for pieces and structures to break up the monotony. Unfortunately, the windows included in the pack can do that really well, as can the sloping sides, which are much darker than the walls. The other option is to introduce some depth and varying roof levels to create visual difference and contrast. There's not a single set way to do this, but it's a great way to break up the patterns in this set, especially if you use other material sets or accessories like the arcane wall trims. For tip number 4, on the topic of breaking patterns and tones, I thought I'd try out all the different material sets. From my experimentation, these are the ones that I think work the best with Aesir. Numidian, Frontier, Arena, Black Ice and Reinforced Stone are generally pretty good, especially Arena in my opinion, as that set does not come with its own roof pieces. As for the more niche choices, there's Pyramid, Khitan, Stone Brick, Aquilonian and Argosian. Khitan in particular is quite interesting as the wood trim from the set adds a consistent element. However, aside from those I've already shown you, I personally don't think the ones I've left out work particularly well with Aesir, but it might be something that you like. Generally, however, I find these are the best combos. Finally, a small tip but a massive one for quality of life. If you're anything like me, you probably hate roofs like this. There's no way to really fix this without adding extra bulk or redesigning elements, so for me it's always been a pain, and replacing the rooftop pieces with ends does not help that much either. However, Aesir introduces the windowed roof, which connects perfectly to this rooftop piece, and probably any other rooftop piece in the game that isn't flotsam or maybe Terranian, at least in terms of shape. This covers some easily made mistakes, and whilst it's a small tip, it can offer a massive improvement in something that was previously only possible with mods. Additionally, you can use this windowed roof to add overhanging segments and balance them into the rest of the build. In general, this new piece is a small addition, but it opens up a whole wealth of roof design options that were basically only enabled through mods prior to now. Additionally, the Aesir roofing is quite similar to the Midian, so it can work as a substitute roofing set for a lot of different material packs, which then opens up the flexibility of being able to use these window pieces. The original Aesir set was pretty inflexible by most standards, but the extension has really helped to fill it out, and I'd say it's now ended up on the other side of the coin completely, being probably one of the most flexible and forgiving sets in the game. Hopefully these tips have helped you uncover some new techniques with the Aesir set, and some methods that alleviate a few of the set's weaknesses. Thank you for watching, and of course a massive thanks to our wonderful esteemed coffee cultists for continuing to support the channel over on Patreon. I've got plenty more content coming, including covering new building sets, tavern builds, lore content and much more, so subscribe to be the first to see those videos. Again, thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you soon.